Hi guys.
Hello,
Yo,
hello, everybody. What's going on, guys? Harold Ruiz, Figure Mania show from Taiwan. Patrick, tell everybody
Hi,
where
I'm
you are
Patrick.
right now.
I'm Patrick from Malaysia.
hey, I'm Akira Joe from Australia, I guess. I'm in Australia now, so.
Yes, so we're from three different time zones. Well, not no, same time zone, but three different locations. And right now, there's nobody watching. So let's just stay here and see who, or do you want to just go on and start talking about the topics?
Yeah, sure. Let's just proceed to the topics.
All right, cool. Yeah, because people can watch this later. All
Yep.
right, guys. So, thank you. Excuse me. So, guys, first of all, thank you guys for stopping by and watching our show. Okay, so this has been a long time in the making for us. Okay, so the three of us, we got together and we wanted to make some kind of utility, some kind of tool to help out the community that loves doing monster toy photography like us. So we figured this was the best way to do that. Okay, so here's what we're going to be doing with our show. So the purpose of the show is uh, we're going to be just basically giving you tips and ideas and stuff like that. We'll share with you some methods and that sort of thing. All right. Um, and yeah, guys, you want to add anything to that?
Actually, you
No, I
pretty
think that's
much
pretty
covered
good.
it.
Okay, cool. All right, so let's start with the first topic. Actually, one of the first topics, our work and our inspirations. So, Brian, why don't we start with you? What got you into toy photography and what inspired you and things?
Okay, so what got me into toy photography is more like because I've always loved toys when I was a kid. So um, when I start making my own money, I start buying action figures, right? But
Mm-hmm.
there's no way we're gonna play it like the way we play it like as a kid. You know where you go like you got one figure and the other figure, and you start making them fights.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Um, so I started looking at around at on the Instagram, and I came across like like the amazing, then I look at ACBA as a whole. Started learning, and I thought that's a good way to channel your creativity, and it's like a new way of playing with toys. So that's how I started into toy photography, really. What about you, Patrick?
Uh, I think for me it's a little bit different because previously, before I found ACBA, I didn't know there's this sort of toy photography existed. Back then. I think I started off
Mm.
with shooting Lego first, and back then I was shooting Lego on a piece of wood behind grass or on top of a bowl of fruits. Back then that was the method of photography that I was doing back then. So I remember back then it was a little bit different back then. But
Mm.
as time goes, when I found the method how to like when I found ACBA, my inspiration I think probably was at first, even when I was in ACBA, I really didn't know that you have to shoot things in the tangible matter. Back then I thought that you still have to edit it and stuff like that. So yeah, but after that, while I was inside there, the more I was in ACBA, the more interested I got, and suddenly it became like a life's work for me. Very interesting thing to do, though. Harold, you okay?
Yes. Yes. Okay. So I'm gonna move downstairs because I have a feeling that the problem here is my room. So
Upstairs.
it's gonna be watching me like go downstairs in my home. I'm carrying my computer and I'm carrying my coffee. I'm walking down the steps. Oh, this is crazy, guys. All right. So is it my turn to
Yes, it's your turn.
All right. Well, basically,
And folks, we're having a technical difficulty at the moment. So Harold's a bit pissed off.
This is your captain speaking.
We just have to wait until he get downstairs and get a better Wi-Fi signal, I guess. We do apologize. This is our first live. Hey Patrick,
Yes.
4 people watching.
Based on what I see here on my phone. Oh shit, it's gone again.
Some of my friends are watching, so thank you. Masa.
How do you see who's watching and who's not?
I got a message.
Oh, I see.
Technical problem. Where's Harold? I hope he can come back in. So anyway, go on.
Yeah. So I think back then for me it was like shooting Marvel Legends, shooting human-sized figures. I think one of the interesting thing that got me further into it was I think it took me about a year before I actually thought of shooting monsters and giants. But definitely people like you and Harold, you guys have inspired me back in the day. I remember early on, even Nonzilla. I think back then it started off with Nonzilla first. I saw his shots and he was doing things like this. And then, well, the thing is this. The thing is this. Before this, your shots has definitely inspired me to shoot giants. But back then, the problem is that I wasn't interested in Godzilla or Ultraman yet at that time. You know what I mean? So I've always wanted to shoot a giant figure, but I didn't know what figure I could use to release my outlet. So at that time, I think I was trying off with Gundam and stuff like that, and then I didn't really enjoy it. So I went back to Marvel Legends and Mayfax again before I finally decided on Ultraman.
All right.
Which is from you, Brian. Yeah, because I saw your shots for Ultraman. So well, the thing is that back then, like what Harold did, things like his shot did inspire me. It's just that I didn't have any interest in Godzilla back then. So which is why I didn't know how to shoot giant figures back then. Yeah.
Yeah, you only got into Kaiju recently. You only got your first Godzilla like very recent, right?
Oh, Ben Piper's in the house. What's going on, Ben? And Mark Stefan Santos is in the house.
Oh.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for watching. So Harold,
Yes.
so what's your inspiration? How do you get into toy photography?
Okay, well, basically, from a little kid, I always loved Godzilla, and I always wanted to be that guy in that suit, And seriously, so then, fast forwarding like all these years, I come and live in Taiwan. Like back in Canada, like there was no Godzilla. I had no friends that liked Godzilla or anything like that, and then like my collection, my Kaiju collection kicked off here in Taiwan, which was like 11, 12 years ago now. Actually 12, 13 years ago. And, it's been growing ever since. And then like when I hopped on a Facebook group, like the first Godzilla group I saw these pictures by John Ruffing from mykaiju.com. And I was blown away by his photography, right? Like he's doing these the X plus figures, toy photography with X plus figures and things, right? And I was like, oh my God, that looks beautiful. It looks just like how I remember watching Godzilla movies. And that's how I got into that's how I first started in. So like John Ruffing was my inspiration, like as the artist and things. And then came the SH Monster Arts, the very first SH Monster Arts. Like I gotta have that figure because it's like the only figure at the time that looked just like the Godzilla in the movie, right? And yeah, but I wasn't into toy photography yet, it wasn't until after 2014, that my interest in toy photography started to spike. And then I stumbled onto the ACBA group and I saw like all these guys making toy photography with their figures. I go, holy crap, this is amazing. And then I did discover, like, along with John Ruffin, I also discovered Nonzilla. I also discovered Kaiju Body and Paint, and like all these other guys that were doing toy photography too, way before me. So and then like I had no idea how to do anything like in terms of photography or nothing like that, right? So my buddy told me, oh yeah, I'm selling my Nikon D90, right? Because like I know it's a DSLR camera, and I needed a DSLR camera because at the time I was doing like a course online, learntoyphotography.com by a gentleman from Australia, and that's where I learned how to use color, use composition, use my shutter speed and all that from that. Okay. And then and that's how it snowballed, you know what I mean? And then I just kept doing it, kept grinding it and stuff like that. And basically I wanted to be the John Ruffing of the SH Monsters. John Ruffing, he does X plus, and I wanted to be the opposite version, but with SH Monsters and stuff like that. And over time, like I've gotten more, I put in more lines, you know what I mean? I've got more scale. Now I do X+2 and things, and I'm going to be doing these giant figures soon. You're going to see, it's going to be pretty cool.
Sure.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
Nice.
I started with getting into kaiju photography because I've always liked actually super robots more than Godzilla, right? So I was always thinking, how do I take pictures of my robots? Because at that time, I was just shooting like Kamen Riders and all these anime stuff. And as I get better, I wanted to try a different thing because it's a different thing. I'm sure like you guys have experienced it as well. Like when you take kaiju toy photography, it's like totally different to when you take like Marvel or superhero ones.
Yes. Yeah.
The setups and everything is like it's so much difference, and like the details that we have to put in actually it's a little bit more because we're dealing with very compact scenes but very detailed.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah. So that's how that's how I started actually. Then I started moving into Ultraman after Godzilla, and I wanted I wanted more people to do more Ultraman, and somehow Patrick got the bait.
Yeah. And also too, like when I started seeing your work, Brian, I was like, wow, this guy's really good and things. And like I saw like a lot of Patrick's work too, doing Ultramans and stuff like that, And yeah, man, like I just pushed myself. I kept pushing and stuff like that to where like I am now, So yeah, so I wanna take the opportunity to thank you guys for joining me on this in this adventure.
Well,
You know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah. So I want to acknowledge some people in the chat right now. So Ben Piper, we're all doing okay. Alan Prama, brother, hope to see you again in Taiwan very soon. And Mark, again, thank you for coming, guys. So guys, if you have any questions, you can leave it in the chat. Okay, we'll be keeping an eye on in the chat. So Ben Piper says he always wanted to be the Power Ranger bad guy. Yeah, I always like the Megazord. Yeah,
The Megazord.
All right. So, yeah. Okay.
So what about you? We should. Sorry. So
go ahead.
Yeah, I think we would like to ask the viewers who's gonna watch whether you're watching now or you watch the replay later. Yeah, we would like to know what inspired you to take toy photography, or would you be interested in taking kaiju toy photography and all that? So we would like to hear your opinion now.
Yeah. So like, what do you guys like shooting and things?
Yeah.
That sort of thing. And like, what do you want to see from us? Like, what kind of, like, how can we help you? Like, what sort of things that you feel that you're struggling in and stuff. So we'll cover that later with, we have another hashtag to help other people right now. But for some reason, I mean, this is our first stream, right? So like I had a PowerPoint and everything made up so you guys can clearly see, but I can't, like, I'm on a Mac right now and I can't figure out, like, I'm new at Mac and I can't figure out how to use certain things. So you know what, hopefully for the second stream, oh, before that, this show that we're going to be doing, this will be a monthly show. So
Yes.
you know, so we'll be doing this every month, you know what I mean? Because you know, we have lives and stuff like that. We can't be doing this on a weekly basis or anything like that, right? So you know, this will be a monthly show for you guys. Okay, so we will be putting up you know, notices and stuff like that on our respective Instagrams and stuff like that to let you guys know when the next show will be. Okay, all right, so now Dima Yoga asks, can you elaborate more on the difference between kaiju and others? I take normal human-sized toys because all the big monsters photograph I always mesmerize me. Okay, so Brian, do you want to take this? I think you were mentioning this earlier.
Yeah, I was just like I was mentioning earlier. Is the difference is you're looking at more of your settings will be more in grand setting, so it's more like you're making use of miniatures, and the big difference is if when you take human, like, you know, human sized toys, you can actually do it outdoor with minimum props. I guess that's the biggest difference. Differences is that
Yes.
we have to use props.
Right.
And we're gonna have problem if we start putting Godzilla or whatever up on the what is the outdoor settings. Carol, you want to add something?
Yeah. Yes. So like for me, like one of the biggest difference between that is like, again, like what you just said, you're using miniatures and things, right? So like you have to take into account that like when you're doing Godzilla or any giant monster character, you have to remember that these characters are huge, so you have to make them look huge. So you have to angle your camera below the eye line, and you have to use force perspective to create that illusion that Godzilla or whichever other character you're using is gigantic. Okay, so you do need miniature props. Like what I like to do is you know, I like to use in the foreground, I like to use like a small object, and then Godzilla or whichever that, you know, being, you know, in the midground. So like have like that force perspective look, right? And then like one of the things that helps create the what makes kaiju photography really stand out is the depth that you give it. So if you create like enough depth, you know, like there's a lot of buildings and stuff like that behind Godzilla, right? So like if you look at the way kaiju movies are made, right? So they got a large object in the front, like depending on like the angle and stuff like that, right? So you have a large you know, a large or small object depending on the angle closer to the camera, and then it goes back. So you're creating that force perspective. So you gotta use you gotta keep in mind that too. So you're really using the environment to trick the eye more. Like you can get away with it with human sized figures like a corner or whatever, you can do that, right? But with monster photography, like it's a totally different ball game.
I agree. And also when you take kaiju toy photography, it's like, you know, you pay attention to your setups even more. Like, you know, as you mentioned earlier, you gotta always have a foreground, right? And then the way we set it up is always like, you know, the lowest building is actually the foreground. Then the second tallest building will be at the middle ground, somewhere near the Godzilla, just to, you know, sort of like a size comparison to make Godzilla looks really huge. Then at the back, you start putting the taller buildings to create the depth. So yeah, I think that's one of we pay attention to the surroundings because there's only so much pose that Godzilla can do. You know, if you take Shin Godzilla for example, all he does is
like,
go like this.
Yeah, it just does this. Like with toy photography, like, you know, they have like all this articulation, so you can make him pose in different ways, right? But in reality, like when watching the movies, like Godzilla's stiff, you know what I mean? Because it's a suit, right? But now with like the CG and stuff like that, like they can make him do like all kinds of things. Ben Piper asks, definitely want to try my hand at this stuff. What are the best miniature buildings you have worked with? Or do you prefer building or making your own? Okay, like for me, I mean, like I use a variety. Like I use papercraft, I use iPop design buildings. I try making my own buildings too. So like I have like a variety of stuff that I like using. What about you, Patrick?
All right. Well, the thing for me is, well, I think this is a huge question for a lot of our viewers here, because throughout my whole journey shooting Godzillas and Ultramans, I received a lot of questions of where do we get this building, where do we get that building, and different people from different parts of the world, and they all have difficulties getting the buildings. And I would say that well, not many people has access to these buildings. So I think there's
Right.
a simple tip that I can give you guys. For those who has difficulties finding buildings, I think there are simple props that you can escape shooting things like this without using buildings, like big pieces of rocks to imitate a mountain, or small plants and small trees. Those are the most simple basic shots that you can get to. But basically, like what Harold and Akira just mentioned earlier, it's about force perspective. It's like, say for example, right, if this were to be a building and this were to be your subject here, so if you were to place something like this, his Kong's gonna look small, you see, but when you put it like this, Kong's gonna look huge. It's all about force perspective. I think a lot of people has difficulties you know trying to understand how this thing works. So it's all about force perspective and all about the angle and all about going low to make them look big, like what Harold mentioned earlier. Yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Yeah. So best miniature buildings for me, well, will be the what you call it, the Tomix,
Tommy Tech.
Tommy Tech.
Tommy Tech. It's the N scale Tommy Tech. They're usually for train miniatures, right?
Right.
And
Mm-hmm.
while sometimes it's actually not the right scale, because some Godzilla are really huge. That's about 160, right? So
150.
150. Okay, so it's something around that line. So that's the best building that I use, because it's very detailed. But the problem is that one piece can get really expensive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but
Like yeah. So the thing with those, I mean, I like those, right? But like with those, you have to really use force perspective, because they're not really in scale with Godzilla and stuff like that. So you have to put it at the foreground, and then put Godzilla in the back, and then angle the camera in such a way. Alan asks, I'm curious, if Godzilla and Ultraman show up in your dreams or nightmares, since you seem to spend so much time in that world. Godzilla always shows up in my dream, Alan, okay? Benjamin, hey guys, I'm thinking of giving a try on Titan size toy photography. One of the challenges I always thought would be buildings. Any tips on how we could make the buildings on scale with the Titans? Okay, if you want to make your buildings, I mean, that's also a possibility. That you just got to remember, the windows on a building really depends. Really, the size of the windows will create that illusion whether Godzilla is big or small. So if you make a building and these windows are big, Godzilla is going to look small. If you make those buildings with smaller windows, Godzilla will look bigger. Okay, so I think we should do an episode on tips like that and stuff like that, like where we get buildings and stuff like that. That'll be a good topic for the next one. Okay, so Benjamin, you can message us on Titan Masters on our Instagram and stuff if you have any further questions. Okay, Mark, Harold, have you considered shooting other toy lines like superheroes other than Godzilla? I do. I mean, I love Superman. I love Batman. I got a Spawn figure that I still haven't shot. And you know what I mean? Like the thing is though, like I'm slowly building my my repertoire of props that I want to use for those particular figures and stuff like that, right? So but like whenever I get into superheroes, I kind of like get caught up as like, ooh, I don't know, like when it comes to toy photography with Godzilla, I know exactly what to do, but with superheroes, it's a different ball game. So I gotta like think things, and then I'm always asking Brian, hey, does this look okay or whatever, you know what I mean? So I do like you doing other toy photography like with other heroes and stuff like that, but Godzilla is my big passion. So that's the thing. Guys, you want to add anything?
Yes, actually, for like as you said, as I mentioned earlier, uh it's actually two different things. Shooting Godzilla and then superheroes. It's you're always
Yes.
refreshing your mind. So that's why I keep switching all the time, and I keep telling Patrick as well. When Patrick started shooting Ultraman, I said, he sometimes he goes like, "Oh man, this it feels to get a bit repetitive." And I told him,
Yes.
Yeah.
that's that's why I switch all the time. You freshen up, you go start doing superheroes or something like that, and then you come back
Yeah.
and you'll feel refreshed. You come up with all these different
New ideas.
setups and all that. So yeah.
Well, for me, like I know what you're saying, like, but for me, like I always manage to make a new Godzilla shot. Like I try and stay away from repeating the same Godzilla shot over and over again. Like I might come back to it like a month later or whatever, and just do like a different variation. But I like to keep it all fresh. And thankfully, like someone that mentioned to me, like in an interview that I did in Spanish, is like, how the hell do you manage to get all these Godzilla shots looking different all the time? And actually, like if you have like a huge library of pictures and stuff like that, those are my inspirations, like comic books and stuff like that. Like I go through like a ton of pictures, and I carefully study them to see, oh, what I can make, how can I make this become a reality, how can I make this tangible, you know? So that's how I do it. Okay, so Andrew writes, hey guys, what tips do you have on lighting the scene? What are some important things to keep in mind? Now, regarding lighting, you can never have enough lights, okay? And you don't need super expensive lighting equipment, okay? You can just get table lamps, desk lamps.
Yes.
We use Ulanzi cube lamps. It's upstairs. I should have brought it down. Do you have one right there with you? There you go. Okay, so those are beautiful. They're inexpensive. They're like $30 each. And when you buy those cube lamps, they come like with a whole bunch of like gels that you can put over top of the light and stuff. And like when you turn it on, like it's got different intensities. Okay, and you charge it through a USB, and also it's waterproof. So I mean, I've used those ones in, like, you remember the aquarium shot that I did of Godzilla, like he's underwater, and those some of those lights were underwater, so it's beautiful. So what I recommend, like what I use is like I use a variety of bulbs. Okay, so I use 5,000 Kelvin bulbs, which is a white light. Okay, I also use 3,000 Kelvin, which is like a warm yellow light, and then a 9,000 Kelvin, which is a cold light. So depending on the lighting scene of that I want. So like if I want like a winter shot, then I use like a 9,000 Kelvin bulb. If I want like a sunset shot, then I use like a 3,000 Kelvin light and things. But you always have to have some kind of white light in your shot to even out the colors, because you don't want an oversaturation. Like I see a lot of guys, they just use just blue light, you know what I mean? And like it just looks way oversaturating. Yeah.
Well, I think the whole secret behind this is that if you're doing a kaiju shot or an Ultraman or anything like that, you have to put in mind that these monsters and these giants, right, they are never indoor, they are always outdoor. Right, when they're
Right.
always outdoor, right? So basically in real life what we have is a sun and a moon. So I would say that whatever it is, as long as there's a sun from this direction or there's a moon from this direction, I think that's about it. There's nothing much to, we only need extra lights to illuminate the building sometimes, or the props behind, or if there's two figures that we need like a light separation to show which is the front, which is the back. I think that's about it. Basically, just use your surrounding to imagine. Basically, we have one sun and one moon. That's how the lighting is for us, though, to shoot things like this, right? I mean, Godzilla is never indoor unless he's trapped in a building where he's chained up in a building. That is the only if. That's the only if, but most of the times he's outside. You see,
Yeah, totally.
he's an outdoor
Yeah.
person.
Yeah, just gonna add something. Yeah, I agree with you both. If I do mine, I always think of other than just the environment, I always think of how to create a little bit more colors. So
Exactly. Yeah, me too.
So I always think about where the explosion might be. So I use a little USB light or ulanzi, as you guys use
Hmm.
to light up the explosion. That sometimes gives it color as well.
Yeah.
And if we do a night scene, and because we have so much depth with buildings and all that, so at the back of the building, usually I will add like a light to highlight the buildings, because
Right.
sometimes the tall buildings will have lights on them anyway. So we can play with colors like that. But in general, all your lighting has to make sense.
Yes.
Exactly. Totally.
You don't want colors just popping out and there's no reason for it to pop up.
Right. Yeah. Like if you look at this one here, that I made. I made this last night. So you see how I illuminate. I have a blue light in the right hand side, and I've got like a warm light on the opposite side. So another thing that you want to remember is to use complementary colors, at least as close as you can. So like I wanted to capture like the movie setting of the Halo drop. So in that movie, I mean, it's super dark, you can barely see anything, but like with toy photography, I mean, you can make your own rules and stuff. But that's why I put like the fire underneath and stuff like that, so I can outline my figures, you know what I mean? So you can see what's happening below, you know what I mean? So those are little tips and tricks. Like you need to, like, even though like the movie itself is a super dark a dark scene and stuff like that, like you as a toy photographer, you have to figure out ways to warm it up and to highlight and to make your figures pop out in the scene.
Yeah, that's right. Actually, with I've seen a lot of people questions from people who's doing night shots. Sometimes their shots are too dark, and when you're doing night shots, especially if you're doing Batman, he's always out at night. Don't worry about making it too dark. It's like you're watching a movie. If it's too dark, you can't see anything what's going on.
Yeah.
All you need to do, make it bright enough, but make sure that the whole scene resembles like a night scene. That's all. You don't worry about it, whether it's dark enough or it's too bright or whatever. As long as the surrounding are nighttime, then it should be enough. Don't worry about being too bright or something. You shouldn't worry.
Yeah.
I think the secret with night shot that what Brian taught me previously was, you can use a light, but light always has to be blue. I think that is the only. I think that's one of the useful tips. Yeah, blue light definitely creates the night scene. Doesn't matter if it's bright or not. As long as there's a blue light involved, right? Blue light definitely looks like a night scene. It's very useful, actually.
Yeah. So, yeah, like if you look at Isaiah's one with the Kaiju from Pacific Rim, this is a good example of that. You know what I mean? So let me pull it up here. So like you can see like the light sources. He's using like a blue light below, and then he's using a light up above. Okay, so it gives that like that little highlight on the edge of the rim.
Yes.
Okay, and then he's using like a dark color. I mean, this is really nice. I mean, this is what I do. So
this is a really nice work.
Yes.
Yeah. This is a nice example of a
very nice.
Yeah. So
I think that's one thing that I want to add, right? There are some people who has difficulties doing this. You see, if you are shooting a dark figure with a dark background, it's very important to separate your subject from the background. So with a light source that comes from behind the figure, you actually create like a soft light around the figure, so it separates the subject from the background. I think that's one thing very important people need to know, especially for night shots.
Yes.
Rim light.
Yes, you need a rim light. Yeah. Like if you look at my like I did this Kong one, based. Oh, hold on a second. Based on the trailer, this one right here. So like I
Yes.
added, so now I'm using real rain particles and stuff, and actually this is kind of like, for a new person doing this is kind of a little difficult to get used to. So you need a very high shutter speed, you need to adjust, you need a strong light source from behind, and yeah, and like, so I like here I'm using a white light, but I'm also using a mix of a blue light to give that, like, that blue hue, and I'm using a reflector right in front of Kong, so like the light reflects back at him. So you can clearly tell where the light's coming from when you see like the stronger, you know, the strongest, you know, the light that's on his hand. You see, you know where that light is coming from.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you just got to remember certain things. Like, you always want to have some white light in your shots, because if you don't, then your shots will look oversaturated.
Yes, true.
And if it's oversaturated, sometimes it's like out of focus. That's what I keep telling
Exactly.
people.
Yeah.
You don't
Yeah.
want, you need a white light because it helps to focus. If it's not, you can see the subject will be blurred anyway.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, white light helps offset the dominant colors. Yes. Yes, Ben, my brother. Okay, what Ben Piper said. He's another master. He does amazing Ninja Turtles toy photography. He's the greatest of all time at Ninja Turtle toy photography, in my opinion. Yeah. Turtle power.
To the power.
Alrighty. So yeah. Okay. So so if you guys want, oh, let's talk about the differences about between ACBA and toy photography. So a lot of people don't really know the difference. So Brian, why don't you start with this one?
Okay. I guess the reason why we're gonna talk about it, because it's all of us are sort of from ACBA, right? You know.
Right.
So yeah, but the difference between ACBA and not toy photography is like I think well, the first is other than being tangible,
Mm-hmm.
because ACBA, 100% tangible. Everything is done within the camera. You know, you cannot add any stuff into your picture.
Right.
But also, the main difference is that it's not a simple product photography. You know what I mean? If it's
Yeah.
like toy photography, you can take a toy, great lighting and everything. You don't need that much environment or props. Just put them in softbox or something. You know, black or white background. Take a good pic, go
Yes.
close up, and that's a product what you call it, product photos, and it still look good. And
Yeah.
that is still toy photography. But with
Yeah.
ACBA, instead of interacting as a as a photo product, the
Mm-hmm.
the figure is sort of interacting within the set. So like we're creating a world
Yeah.
where the figure is will interact with while we capture that moment. So that for me, that's ACBA. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
we put
Basically, you're telling. Go ahead,
yeah, go
Brian.
on.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. So
All right.
basically, I'm saying
Basically, you're telling us.
we
Sorry.
uh,
Sorry.
let me just finish one. So basically,
All
what
right.
I'm
You
saying is
finish,
like
Brian.
ACBA, we created a world for the figure that we're gonna for the subject that we're going to take, and how the subject will interact within the world that we created.
Yes.
So that's the main difference for me. Go on,
Yeah.
Harold.
Sorry about that, brother.
No
Yeah.
worries.
Basically, you're basically telling a story with your figure. Okay.
Mm,
So ACBA, like you know, you have to get the posing right. So you have to, like, when doing monsters and stuff like that, I mean, you have to think about the mood, the environment, and all that. So the feeling that you want to get. So like with ACBA, like all three of us, we do ACBA, so we're doing it like 100% tangible as much as we can, but we're also telling a story and things, and like things have to when you want to do ACBA, things have to make sense. What Brian was saying, okay? So like if you a lot of times, like with figures, like that Kong figure that that Kong shot that I showed you, right? Um, another artist did a shot of that too, but like with the neck ahead of that Kong, like he's got an open mouth like this, right? And like in the movie, like in the trailer, it's a touching shot where Kong is like having a connection with the girl. But then when doing that shot, if you don't have the right expression of that figure, that the mood of that shot doesn't really land. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So what I did with that shot is I took the NECA head off and I put the Mezco head on, and that did it. You know what I mean? So you gotta remember that too. You know what I mean? So like the expression of the character. So like if you have two characters fighting, and one of the characters has just like a just a normal face, and he's getting hit or he's throwing, I mean, that's not how what would really happen. You know what I mean? You would have like expressing that sort of thing. You know what I mean? So you gotta remember little things like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think from what I see here is that I think a lot of people have difficulties understanding what ACBA is or what the word tangible means. So basically, in layman terms, I think tangible means no photoshopping, and a lot of people the thing is this: why it's hard is because let's just put ourselves in an example, right? If Godzilla were to have his beam coming out, and if you were to use a blue light and illuminate the beam, you might illuminate the face as well. So I think the difficulties and the struggles that we go through is how do we illuminate the beam without touching the face to make it make sense?
Yes.
So like what Harold has mentioned earlier with Kong, where you can switch the face out and the heads out, so to suit the situation, to have the expression. But there are certain figures, like say for example with Gundams or Ultramans and things like that, these figures has no mouth or no face or no expression. So I think the only way to make them look like they have expression is like this is angry, this is like confused, and this is like scared. So I think the neck movement is very important to show the mood if the figure doesn't comes with mouth or eyes or angry expressions. This is one of the struggles as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Posing, as I always say, posing makes up like what 70% of your composition. So you need a really sound posing. If your posing is off, no matter how good your settings will be, it's still gonna be off.
Yes, totally. Yeah. All right, so let's see what else is on the docket here, boys. Okay, so I think we've pretty much covered that topic now. So now if you guys want help and feedback, now unfortunately I can't figure out how to use the PowerPoint on this. So we're gonna leave it in the description section below. So for all you guys new to monster toy photography, if you want some feedback on your shot, if you want some help, and also too, like if you like, we're hoping that you give us permission to give you some feedback live here on a show, on an occasion. Okay, so that would be hashtag #AskTitanMasters. So we'll leave that hashtag down below. So if you guys want some feedback on your shots, you can tag us that shot, and we'll take a look at it, and we'll give you guys some feedback on your shot. And also do let us know in your post whether if we can use your shot live on the show.
Yeah, it's very important.
Yeah. Okay. All right, so let's talk about Godzilla versus Kong. So guys, I think that trailer was freaking awesome. What did you guys think?
I love the trailer for sure, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad I got into Godzilla lately, because if I were to see this trailer 2 years ago, I might not be interested. I was just like, oh, okay, interesting. But yeah, lately, I think after getting into Godzilla, I definitely love the trailer more now, definitely.
Yeah. I mean, you know what? Like, I miss seeing Godzilla wreck shit. You know what I mean? Like, for the last two movies, he's been like an anti-hero type of character. But like in this one, like you see him like ripping ships and things apart, and it's like, wow, that was refreshing to see. You know what I mean? Like seeing people terrified of Godzilla, I kind of miss that. You know, so that was really cool. What do you guys
Yes,
think of that?
that's definitely
Oh yeah,
definitely.
definitely.
Yeah.
For me,
Yeah.
like that's what Godzilla is. Godzilla isn't supposed. When he first came out, he's supposed to be a villain. He's a monster. He's not like
Yes.
the friend of a
Yeah.
human. He's supposed to wreck
No.
things, man.
Well, I think
I
the most
know.
interesting thing about Godzilla is that Godzilla has never played himself as a character. Godzilla is more of like a disaster. Where
Yeah.
where every time Godzilla pops out in the movies, the weird thing is that we as humans we are supposed to side ourselves, but yet he becomes the main hero in the show. And then every time
Hmm.
he's like a character that just passes by and there's nothing you can do about it, and he just comes and goes.
Yeah.
He's like a
Yeah.
flood,
He's a
or he's
force
like
of nature.
yeah, he's just
Yeah.
like a natural disaster you cannot
Yeah.
escape.
That's true.
Exactly.
He's just an angry lizard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now here's the thing. In the trailer, okay, so Kong bow. Oh, Mark Steffen says Kong bows to no one. Okay, well, to rebut that, in the trailer to Godzilla King of the Monsters, they clearly say this is Godzilla's world and we just live in it.
Now,
Yeah.
now, there's one thing I must say, right? I think scientifically it's not possible for Godzilla to bow. If you have a Godzilla figure, you will know that his knees and his thighs doesn't allow him to bow anyway. it's not. It's just not possible for Godzilla to bow. He's unbowable.
But you know what? Well, you know what? I reckon the plot twist is gonna be Godzilla and King Kong is gonna work together to fight some other
Yes.
new ones. I think
Oh yeah.
that's the only way they can do it, because they can't really have one winner. I mean,
Yes. Yes.
the old movie
Well,
it ended up as a draw. So
yeah. Well, they said there is gonna be a winner, like of the main fight, and obviously, like even like from before, like when they announced this movie, I knew right away Godzilla was gonna lose, because like the way if you look back at that trailer, the way like you really connect with Kong. He's sympathetic. He has this connection to humans and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So people are gonna fall in love with Kong. You know what I mean? And and like he's got like that human expression. Like you see the eyes on Kong. It's like, wow, like he's clearly going to have that connection to the audience, especially like in that one part of the trailer, like when you see like he looks scared. He's like, oh my god, what's going to happen? I say, wow, that's awesome. And those are one of those little things that that separate Kong and Godzilla. You know what I mean? Like clearly people are gonna connect with Kong more like on an emotional level and things. So I mean, it only makes sense that Kong wins. Like from a narrative perspective, like he's gonna win. You know what I mean? Even though like on paper, Godzilla is way more powerful. You know what I mean? Like the way I see this trailer is like Kong can't fight Godzilla. But then he has to go like on a quest to get this MacGuffin, to get this thing, which is the axe. And now, as soon as he's got the axe, now he can fight Godzilla. That's the way it feels to me. You know what I mean? So it kind of feels like Transformers almost. You know what I mean? Like they have to get the thing to beat the bad guy. You know what I mean? That sort of thing.
Well, I think right. At first, I was thinking, yeah. My first thought when I saw the trailer was that nobody's gonna win. But based on movie history, if we were to talk about Batman versus Superman or Captain America: Civil War, we must not forget that we once had Freddy versus Jason. We did have a clear winner back then, or about
Yeah.
Aliens versus Predator. Back then, there was
Mhm.
also a clear winner. So I think now we might come back to that stage again, where the show will have one winner, at the end. I think it's actually possible.
Yeah.
And like what Harold said, actually makes sense. Kong is always the more sympathetic one. He's always like a
Yeah.
cute, innocent puppy who has invisible strength. That is how they always try to portray Kong all the time. Which is it makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, you know what? The important thing, like, I want Godzilla to win. I think he should win. But you know what? The more important thing is that this movie is good. You know what I mean? And hopefully they continue this universe. I mean, they are continuing this universe because they announced like a ton of stuff already, like a Netflix, like a Kong Skull Island series on Netflix, I think, and a couple of other things, even comic books and stuff. So they are continuing this monsterverse. But what's not clear to me is that if Godzilla is gonna be part of it, because there's been like a lot of talk about that the rights to Godzilla will revert back to Toho. So I really don't know if you know, if they're gonna continue with the Godzilla license or not, but we'll see.
Yeah, because it's been what? Oh no,
Father.
it's only been. It's three. It's the final of the trilogy, isn't it? It's the third Godzilla movie,
As
right?
far as we know, this is the last one. You know, yeah.
Yeah,
So
so that makes sense. We don't know.
my father-in-law back there.
Oh,
Yeah. Ty, Luminous, he's also known as Heisenberg. Nice to see you here,
oh,
brother. Thank you so much for coming, and thank you. Means a lot. Heisenberg. He's in the chat. Yeah. So, anything you guys want to add?
yes. We would like to answer the two questions from Instagram,
Okay.
from Kaiju Carnage and from Fira Toy Adventure.
Okay. All right. So, Kaiju Carnage asks, okay, I want to know what is the easiest memory of you have of Godzilla, Ultraman growing up, and how it impacted your life. Well, basically, I mean, I kind of said this in the beginning. I mean, I've always been a Godzilla fan. I was the only kid in my school that loved Godzilla and things. And like, I was first into dinosaurs. And then when I saw the Hanna-Barbera Godzilla, the cartoon, I was like, oh my God, that's so awesome. A Godzilla with like a dinosaur with superpowers. And then later I saw King Kong versus Godzilla. I was like, what the heck? And then like it just grew from there. What about you, Patrick?
I think for me, I didn't grow up as an Ultraman or Godzilla fan yet. I would definitely say that I only became a fan after toy photography. Basically, like after what I saw you guys shot. But the thing is this, I've always been watching Ultraman and Godzilla when I was a kid. It's just that I never had real interest to it because I always felt like I could never portray them because they are like a big size figure. I think the one of the biggest superheroes I had as a kid growing up, I think probably is like Power Rangers and Batman and Spider-Man. But as time goes, yeah, it has impacted my life in my in the later part of life, in my late adulthood, I would say. Definitely not when I was a kid.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ryan?
I watched a little bit of Ultraman as a kid, so
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I know who Ultraman is, but I watch a lot of robots, so that really got me into like wanting to shoot like a big size robot toy
Yeah.
photography.
Yeah. Like I love Transformers. Like I grew up on Transformers,
Uh,
Thundercats, and all that. But like in Canada, like I all I saw was Godzilla. Like I never saw like anything Gamera. I never saw anything Ultraman until much later, like when I was a teenager. But by then I was like, I was a teenager. I was into girls and stuff like that. So like I really didn't care about any of those characters. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
yeah. So oh man. So we have 10 people in the chat. Guys, thank you so much. We were thinking that we were gonna have like maybe 3 people in the chat. And it turns out that we have 12. Thank you guys so much for coming on our show today.
Oh, I think we have one more question from Fira Toy Adventure, but we have already answered that earlier. He's asking, how do we do framing and placing of elements when photograph these big characters, which is something we already answered just now. It's about force
Yeah.
perspective. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. We answered that already. So, yeah, about framing and things, and like, I mean, on my Instagram, like I try to always leave a behind the scenes. So I leave that there for everybody who wants to learn and things on ring. So you guys can just look at the behind the scenes on how I do it and things, and get ideas on how to better take your shots, So
Is that Chica?
It's not.
This
it's
is
not Chica.
Obi. This is Obi. That's my other dog. Yeah, he thinks he's Batman. He likes to stand right up on here, and then he look out the window because he thinks he's Batman for some reason. You know what I mean?
It's breathing.
Obi, come here. Obi.
I think we've got a couple of questions on the chat. Let me just go through the chat.
How are you guys seeing the questions? Oh, I see. Right.
Duffy Cornia was asking, want to start a photo Kong and Godzilla? Which one is the best figure for both?
If you don't have any, just get the new SH Monster Arts.
Yeah, I would say that.
Kong and,
yes,
yeah,
true.
Just get the Kong and Godzilla for the newest one.
Oh, let's talk about that. We have like about 4 minutes left. Those SH Monster Arts figures that are coming, man, they're a blessing. I mean, I've been wanting a proper Kong figure, a MonsterVerse Kong figure for a long time. Like, all I had, like, when Tom Tiss from Nine Modelism, advertised his Jungle Lord, I'm like, I was like all over it. I mean, it looks like the MonsterVerse Kong. So that's all I had to use, and like the NECA Kong and the Mezco Kong and stuff. But like this Kong, I can't wait to get this guy in my hands. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna definitely retire my Jungle Lord figure as soon as I get that Kong figure, because I mean, like if you look at it, I mean, like it's got like all the nice articulations and stuff like that. The sculpting looks beautiful, but in terms of like the paint, I mean, it's hard to tell from the photo, but it doesn't look like there's like a lot of shading on him. You know what I mean? I hope that's just like the product shot, but there doesn't look like there's like a lot of shading of his fur and things like that on that figure. So that's something that I might have to, consider repainting. You know what I mean?
But the thing that really caught my eye was the hand. He has the hand piece where it looks like this.
Yeah.
He walks. That is the one thing that really interests me, man. I mean, the sculpt. Yeah, this is really awesome. When I saw that part and the way it's really really nice.
Yes, like an actual gorilla. Yeah, that looks really cool. Yeah.
Well, they have.
Go ahead.
They have that from the previous one. The previous King Kong one. Yeah.
Yes, that's the Peter Jackson King Kong, which is like not in scale with any of the Godzillas. You know what I mean? I could never get my hands on that Kong. You know what I mean? And like now they're coming out with this with Kong 2021. I was like, I cannot wait. He's gonna have the battle axe. He's gonna have 2 different heads. And like the thing though, now like he's gonna be around like 5 inches or so. That's pretty much close to like the Jungle Lord figure. So what I'm thinking that I might be able to do is take the head sculpts from my Jungle Lord figure and put it on his body, and now I'll have like a young Kong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Really cool. You know what I mean? I cannot wait to get that figure in hand. So what do you think of the closed mouth head of the upcoming SH Monster Arts Kong? I like it. I mean, he looks like an older Kong and things. So like what I just mentioned now, I can take my Jungle Lord head figure, and then look like he's got like a young Kong. You know what I mean? So I gotta see more. I gotta see it in hand to get like a more more accurate description of it and things. But I'm excited for that figure. The only one that's not so, I don't know, I guess they don't know what else to do is the Godzilla figure. You know what I mean? Like the one thing that I like is that he's got these open hands, like the claws. You know what I mean? That looks awesome. And I'm only getting that figure because he's got his claw hands. You know what I mean? But other than that, I mean, it's just a repaint of the 2019, and like, but I really don't like the painting on that. You know what I mean? Like he's got blue dorsal fins with like with the lumen, like the fluorescent paint, and his mouth too. It looks like he was like drinking like a lot of blue Kool-Aid and his mouth turned blue,
That's true.
But I don't know. Like, I think like they don't know what else to do. Like, I honestly thought that we were gonna. I thought that they were gonna make a change in Godzilla's design, at least tweak it. You know what I mean? Because like they always change something in Godzilla's design from movie to movie. Like from 2014 to 2019, there's a big difference in the way he looks and stuff. But no, it looks like CG wise, they just they tweak the design and everything like that. But in terms of like the figure, it's the exact same. So which is like, there's really not much of an incentive for people to buy this figure. You know what I mean? So I'm only wanting it because it's got the hands and I want to use the hands. But like to put down $60 just to get a pair of hands is kind of like ridiculous for some people. You know what I mean? So this will be like the 7th Godzilla that I have.
well, the whole thing is this. I'm actually keen to see if they were to come up with a Godzilla with battle scars. Like if you remember back in 2002, the Godzilla 2002 and 2003, there's like a battle scar and stuff like that. I think that would be very interesting to see. Just instead of the hands, they'll give you that. And also one more thing to look forward to will be Mecha Godzilla. I think that one would be quite interesting though.
Actually,
yeah.
Speaking of Mecha Godzilla, that looks like the anime version. I think they take the inspiration
very
from
much like Ready Player One, if you remember.
Yeah. Ready Player One and the animation version. So it doesn't look like the classic Mecha Godzilla that we know.
No, not at all. Not at all. Yeah. So yeah, man. I mean, like they still have to reveal the Mecha Godzilla, but we all know pretty much what it's gonna look like. If you look at the Playmates toys, I don't know, man. The Playmate Toys version looks ugly. You know what I mean? So I don't have any high hopes for this Mecha Godzilla, but I think it looks atrocious. But what else are they going to do with that figure? You know what I mean? Because like all the cool designs have been taken already. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I don't know. They got to do something. You know what I mean? So yeah.
And I think a lot of the new people who've seen Mecha Godzilla, the newest version will be the one in Ready Player One. So I guess it makes sense for them to take inspiration from that.
Yeah.
Yes, totally. Yeah. So, all right. So we are at 1 hour and 2 minutes, boys. So I think that's enough time for today. And we covered all the topics. Actually, we didn't get to cover the Super 7 Godzilla. Super 7's coming out with Godzilla figures, which is really interesting. So Super 7 figures, they're like I have the Lion-O, like the Thundercats and stuff like that. They're like on the 7-inch scale side. So I'm hoping that they make bigger size figures instead of like 6-inch figures. So we'll see. Yeah.
But the thing is, this Super 7, they are not making Godzilla based on the new movie. They're making one in general, right? Like a whole design,
I think so, right? because if you look at their post, that's the silhouette of Godzilla, of the Heisei Godzilla, right? So it's not the monstrous Godzilla. So I don't know. That could be nothing, but that's just something to consider. You know what I mean? Yeah. All right, guys. So I think we should wrap it up now. And we've hit 1 hour and 3 minutes, guys. So do you guys want to add anything before we end the day?
I think we're just gonna answer one from Eddie here. If the MonsterVerse continue with the next movie, who would you guys want to see? I would say Gamera. I think Gamera. It's time for Gamera to make a.
I think
in the MonsterVerse, that's never gonna happen. But I would like to see a Gamera movie. Like, I mean, this is gonna be an awesome year. I mean, we're getting we're getting 2 new Godzilla things. We're getting Godzilla versus Kong. We're getting Godzilla Singular Point. We're getting the new Ultraman. Like, I've never been an Ultraman fan until you, Patrick. So you got me interested in Ultraman. But like, I'm curious. I looking at the trailer to the Ultraman, that teaser, it looks really nice. Like, I want to see more. Yeah.
Yeah, the design is really nice, actually. Shin Ultraman. That is very interesting. So,
but the thing is, that finally, once we get like a matured version of Ultraman, because to be honest, even the current Ultraman, if you were to watch the show, you will know that it's really, really meant for kids. It's just like 100% kid show. It's not even for adults at all.
Well, to be honest with you, like they made those shows with with the mind of it's basically they're marketing their products.
Yes,
Yes.
very
what I
true,
mean?
very true.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
they keep introducing gimmicks, and then they can make toys out of it, and people just keep buying.
Yeah, like coins and cards and all that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So Alan says, hoping to get the good Titan type shots that's good enough to get featured on the Titan Masters. Brother, you're already an awesome artist. I'm sure you'll do fine.
Alan
All
Palmer,
right.
Spider-Man
So
King of Spider-Man, man.
oh man, yeah, he does awesome Spider-Man shots. And Mason, hey fellas, Mason, good to see you here, brother. Yeah.
Mason Zilla.
Okay. Yes. All right. So I think that's it for today.
Yep.
So everybody in the chat, thank you so much for stopping by in our first episode. Thank you so much, man. I didn't think we were gonna have this many people, so it's nice to see that you guys are here and you tuned in. All right. So you guys can find us on our Instagram, the Titan Masters. Okay, so we'll leave the links to the below to Titan Masters. You can also follow me on my respective IG, Figure Mania show. I just hit 11,000 today. Can you believe that, guys? 11,000.
Congrats.
Thank you.
We all
Thank you.
deserve
11,000. Who would have thought? And then you can also find Patrick in his respective Instagram, Patrick Dios, and the one and only Akira Joe. You can find him on his respective one. So guys, keep sharing. If you guys have any questions and stuff, just give us a holler.
Sorry, there's a good question from Eddie. He's asking us, what is your monthly schedule like? I think we do not have a specific date to say which day will we do it on which month, right?
Well, like we're gonna be doing it a monthly show, but we'll let you know like in a post on our respective IGs and Titan Masters to let you know when the next show will be. So at this moment, it'll be in we're coming up in February tomorrow, so it'll probably be at the end of February. You know what I mean? That when the next show will be, but we're not sure what day exactly. So we're pushing for the last weekend of every month, but we'll see.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So that could change. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So guys, do you have anything in closing?
Well, I just would like to thank everyone who's joined us. As you said, it's actually quite surprising that a lot of people turn up. So thank you, friends, for tuning up.
So much, guys.
So so hopefully we'll come up with a second episode soon. Towards at the end of the month of February.
Yeah.
If you have any questions.
Wait, guys.
Yep.
Yeah.
What up?
We didn't look through the photos.
That's okay. Okay. We need them to. If you want to get featured, please add hashtag TM Toy Pics on your picture. So we'll feature every second day on our page. So
yes.
Please help us to grow the hashtags. And if you want feedback from us, you can always what was the hashtag? Ask the Titan Masters.
Yes, ask Titan Masters. Yes.
Yeah. So that will be a new thing that we're gonna do in the second episode, where we'll choose a couple that a couple of pictures that we wanted to give feedback on. So it will be constructive feedback. So don't worry about it. We're not just gonna say, "Well, this is wrong. This is right." No. We're just gonna give how to make it a better shot.
Yes, we want to encourage you. We don't want to crap on anybody. Like this is crap. No, we're not that.
Yeah, we're not that. So because what we want is we want people to keep do kaiju toy photography.
Yes.
So anything to add, Patrick?
I think pretty much covered it, guys. Pretty much covered it up.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So I'm just scrolling through all the pictures that's been featured on this month. So congratulations, guys. You guys did an amazing job. All the artists that got featured. All right, guys. So beautiful shots. Alrighty, including myself and you guys. All right, guys. So that's it, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will catch you guys in the next episode. All right, guys. Thank you so much. God bless. Guys, wear your masks wherever you are in the world. Stay safe, and hope to see you again soon. Okay, guys?
All right. See you guys. Thank you. Stay safe.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.